My husband, 36 male, and I, 34 female, have been foster parents for the past 6 years. We usually only had short-term placements, around 4 to 8 months or so. Then 2 years ago, we had Caden placed with us. He was a preschooler at the time. It was supposed to be another short-term placement, but things changed, and it became clear he'd be with us for a while. After a year, we were told his plan was likely changing to adoption, so we decided we would if that happened. Eventually, we were told we were going to be able to. My brother's wife, Denise, 40, was adopted at birth, and originally was a great resource for us. We've always done our research to be trauma-informed and best help any child in our care. Things were fine until we shared we were going to adopt Caden. Denise said we were stealing a child from his family and we should fight to keep him with his family, despite no family stepping up. Well, in the end, a relative did step up and applied for kinship. They received custody of Caden and will likely adopt him. It's truly best for Caden to stay in the family, but it doesn't mean it isn't extremely hard on everyone involved. We raised him for 2 years, loved him, and soothed every nightmare, fever, etc. We built a bond. It was also hard to explain to him why it went from, "We're adopting you," to "You're going to live with" insert relative that he didn't know well. Caden was reunited with the family member in January after only 1 week's notice. The family had also decided we shouldn't see Caden. It's their right, and we understand, but we've been essentially cut out of his life, and we'll never see him again. It's hard. My husband and I have gone through a grieving period. We decided to take a break from fostering. We recognize that this is the best thing, but it doesn't make it any easier. Most of our family's been pretty understanding and supportive as we work through our grieving. Everyone except Denise. She keeps saying what a wonderful thing this is, and that we need to stop being sad, that it's not about us. On Saturday, she and my brother came over. We were having a decent day until I saw a picture of Caden on my phone. I got a little teary and had to leave the room momentarily. I returned and apologized. Denise got snippy and said, "You need to cut this out. He wasn't your child. This is what's best for him. If you truly loved him, you'd be over this by now." I was still upset and mixed with everything I was going through. I screamed at her that she was an insensitive little witch, and she only looked through things from her perspective. I said I understood she resents her adoptive parents, but that doesn't mean we were wrong for wanting to adopt Caden. She tried arguing with me, but I threw her out of my house. She left in a huff. My brother has since called and said that he understands Denise is candid, but I was wrong to scream at her, and I could have handled it better. Am I the idiot? Candid? Is that what we're calling idiots these days? You are not the idiot, OP, not by a long shot. This is not only heartbreaking, but it also makes me angry. Just because this was not a biologically related child doesn't mean in any way that you and your husband don't have a right to grieve. In my honest opinion, Denise needs to see a therapist to help with whatever unresolved mixed emotions and abandonment issues she buries due to her own adoption. As a former CPS worker, I'm upset that the kinship relationship wasn't developed more quickly. 2 years and a possible adoption were too long for the child and OP. And this stuff about family always being better, well, some families have generational trauma that affects their ability to function to raise healthy children. What a beast. Who do they think they are to dictate the timing of someone's grief? This is outrageous. Denise comes off as really cold, even with her own adoptive history factoring in. I'm so enraged for you. They would never be allowed in my home again, ever. If it's any comfort, remind yourself you were there for that little boy when he needed you and gave him all the love you could. I have a tuna salad recipe that I'm very proud of. I use tuna, Kewpie mayonnaise, spicy brown mustard, celery, onion, garlic, pickles, lemon juice, pickle juice, salt, and black pepper. I chop the celery, onion, and garlic and pickles fresh for maximum flavor. It's honestly the best tuna salad I've ever tasted anywhere in my life, including restaurants and other people's houses. My girlfriend is an extremely picky eater, and honestly, it drives me crazy sometimes because I love food. For example, today she asked me to make tuna salad, but when she saw me preparing all the ingredients, she demanded no onion. I told her that I always put onion in it, and she's always loved it, but she persisted that she doesn't like onions, which makes no sense. Eventually I said, fine, I'll leave the onion out. After she left the kitchen, I quickly chopped the onion and added it, betting on the fact that she couldn't tell it was in there. I served it to her open-faced on an everything bagel, and I was right, because she immediately gobbled up every last bite and said it was great. But later in the afternoon, she saw the onion peel in the trash can and figured out I had added it. Even after I told her that she liked it, she got mad at me. She said it was disrespectful. I love her, but I'm tired of her picky eating. What kind of person refuses to eat onions and a bunch of other foods in their 30s? Not to mention that she's already eaten my tuna salad with onion multiple times before. You are the idiot. It's not about whether she tasted it or if she enjoyed it, or even if she would have never known unless she had seen the peel. It isn't about how picky an eater she is. She asked for no onion. You agreed to no onion. Then you add onion. She trusted you and you broke that trust. You could have just added onions to your own tuna and left her to figure out why hers tasted different from usual. Even if she liked it, how you've made it before, that doesn't exactly excuse being sneaky about it to prove a point to yourself. That's petty. Then she can make the tuna salad herself. You are not the idiot. If they're not allergic to it, have dietary restrictions, and don't have any ethical reasonings not to eat it, or any other reason for being vegan or vegetarian, then no harm, no foul. Some will disagree and say it's not consent and therefore not acceptable. I personally don't think it's that deep. Picky eaters are picky for several reasons, but if she has literally had this exact tuna salad before and never once complained, then I truly don't see the harm. I agree. Normally it is crappy to do this, but come on, it's onions. We don't need to hear the, what if she's autistic? What if she has dietary restrictions? What if she has allergies? Spiels. OP's probably well aware if any of these applies to his girlfriend. She's just being irrational. Good grief, people here are talking about betraying trust. Maybe don't agree to make her any next time. If she doesn't like yours, she can make her own. My husband and I built a house a few years ago with extra bedrooms, thinking it would be great to host family. Now, a few years later, 2 of his siblings live with us. For context purposes, the older one pays us rent, but the younger one contributes minimally, utility contribution, because they're in school and we wanted to help them save money. So, on to the issue. I carry the burden of managing the household for everyone. I'm also a mom and I work full-time, so the load is already heavy. The older sibling has not contributed to any home cleaning or participating in chores since they moved in. I can count how many times they've made dinner for the household. Cleaning the bathroom? Nope. Cleaning dishes? Nope. Eating our food? Of course. There's more, but I guess it didn't bother me as much until the second sibling moved in and acted identically to the first sibling, meaning double the work. Today I spent hours cleaning out the pantry and fridge, throwing away expired crap and brand new bags of Costco-sized food. I just couldn't believe the amount of work I did today, just in the kitchen, while also managing a young sick kid and all the things that come with that. I was exhausted, to be frank, but not just from today. It seems like everything just piles up. I really want them gone. It's been too many months of living like this, and too many talks and reminders to each of them separately with no changes. When my husband got home tonight, I just unloaded on him. My emotions were high. I was very upset and hurt, crying, etc. And he basically told me to stop acting like this, that this shouldn't consume my thoughts. We don't have to address it now, and he didn't understand why I was so upset. I just wanted to vent about the mental load of managing so many tasks for so many people, and he didn't want to hear anything about me being overwhelmed. It's really hurtful to me not to be able to express myself without being shut down immediately. He didn't want to talk about resolution or what we should do. Literally anything I brought up was responded to with, "You keep going on about this." I don't even know how to respond to that. I mean, yeah, I'm uncomfortable in my own home, and I'm exhausted, and everything needs to change. But it doesn't have to change tonight? Am I really blowing this out of proportion? Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, but your main issue here is your marriage. So why are you doing all of this? And your husband isn't. You should kick the 3 siblings out, or take your kid and go on a long vacation. Pack up the kid and your stuff, and go stay with your family for a week or so, and see if he notices. Well, seeing as how her husband was so dismissive of OP's concerns, I'm willing to bet he probably guilted her into taking on the burden of hosting them. As it is with so many stories like this, the problem here is OP's husband. That's completely unacceptable, by the way. And OP is not the idiot, and understandably is burnt out. OP, just stop. Take care of yourself and your kid, and everyone else has to figure out their crap. You may, and by may, I mean almost definitely will, need to get a lockbox to go in your fridge to keep them from consuming the food you buy for you and your kid, and a similar one in the pantry. Do only what's necessary for you two. As for the others, you can tell them that when they choose to be contributing adults, you can all work together as a household, but that they're not your children, and you won't tend to them as if they were. Make an announcement and do it. It sounds like your husband came from a home where mom did everything, and now they're treating you like the mom, which they'll keep doing until you stop acting like one. That might mean leaving for a while, only cooking for you and your kids, doing only your dishes and laundry, etc., while letting the other kids figure it out for themselves. My in-laws are what you would call traditional. They seem to think the world should have stopped 50 years ago and think everything since then is evil. They aren't bad people. They just are very old-fashioned. My husband and I have 3 children, 2 female teens and a male tween, and we go to visit all their grandparents since they live close. Here's the issue. They don't like the idea of women wearing pants. My mother-in-law says it's showing off, and my father-in-law always says it isn't Christian. I'm pretty feminine, so I don't mind throwing on a dress when we stop by, but our daughters are not. They don't like visiting my husband's parents, which breaks his heart because we make them wear a dress before they go. They're both pretty tomboyish, so they never wear any dresses otherwise. I had to buy each of them a few dresses specifically so they could go. To be clear, it's not like they aren't allowed over when they wear pants. It's just that they won't shut up the entire time about how much they hate it. Our daughters hate this and think it's unfair. I guess it is, but in many cultures, women only wear skirts and dresses, so I don't think it's a big deal. Plus, it isn't like it hurts them to wear a dress a few times a week for a few hours. The issue is our oldest is planning to never speak to her grandparents again after she's 18, and I'm worried it's affecting them. Am I the idiot for making my daughters wear dresses? My mother-in-law says it's showing off, and father-in-law always says it isn't Christian. This, right here, it's a problem. You are the idiot for letting your in-laws treat your daughters this way. The first thing you should have done is set your in-laws down and told them that your daughters aren't comfortable in dresses, and that if they want a relationship with the girls, they need to keep their opinions on dresses to themselves. That's all it takes. Hard agree. I got to this part. It isn't like it hurts them to wear a dress a few times a week for a few hours. What the heck, OP? These poor kids have to be subjected to them several times a week? You're worried they won't speak to the grandparents again after they turn 18? You should be more worried they won't speak to you or your husband either. I openly admit I paused too, over reading that this is a few times a week for a few hours. I was expecting it to be a few times a year. OP, your husband's perfectly capable of saying, "Well, Mom and Dad, I know you love seeing the girls, but to be honest, they're tired of being criticized for wearing pants. So as long as that continues, They've decided they don't want to visit anymore. So, covering my legs with pants equals showing off? Showing leg in a dress, not showing off. Got it. OP, you're on the wrong side of history here. Without question. Every woman relative of mine that I've met in my lifetime, including the ones that were born when the Titanic was the latest thing, has worn pants. Agree. My grandmother used to fight with my dad about me not wearing dresses to church. God, I hated dresses. My grandmother was born before 1900 and had some very outdated ideas. And my dad wasn't exactly a hero dad in many ways, but in this aspect he stood up for me, hard against his own mother, who he loved and admired very much. But on this, he would not allow her to teach me that I had to follow these ridiculous expectations. I overheard it once, and it stayed with me for life. It mattered in many ways. It's imperative to stand up for your girls on this. I don't think you understand how significant it is that you're failing to do it. I'm glad your daughters are strong enough to see through your misogyny and stand up for themselves. So sad their own mother won't, but at least they're likely to have each other's backs. My daughter's young teen school has a new addition to the high schooler's school uniform. It's a different top because many students started changing tops as they desired, so the school changed the design and colors to suit most students' taste. The sponsored shop is close to my workplace, so she gave me her old shirt to get the same size for her. Unfortunately, this shirt was a little too small on her, so she had to wear different shirts under the school's jacket, and she did get warnings from the school twice before. So I got her something 2 sizes bigger, which was also the recommended size for her height and weight on the list, so it could fit for longer, but it wasn't too big either. My daughter got really upset when she tried it on and said that she wanted something fitting. I tried to explain that they would have her change it anyway or give her warnings, but she's insisting, and my sister's agreeing, saying I should at least change it for a smaller size, which isn't much of a difference than the original size, and that this will lead her to become insecure about her looks, which is never my intention. Am I the idiot? Edit. The original shirt was too small, basically a crop top, and she's worn the same size for 2 academic years, so a size larger wasn't going to do much, which is why I bought the recommended size, which isn't baggy at all. It's just perfect, but not as fitting as she wanted it to be. And unfortunately, we can't alter the design because the school prohibits that too. Not the idiot. Young teens often want to wear clothes that are tight or smaller than appropriate. It might be important to discuss the difference between school clothes and clothes you wear to the mall or to hang out with friends. If the school had already been giving her warnings, she needed a larger size. Yep, this is an extremely common tactic that parents do to save money. Get something a little big so kids can grow into it. But from the kids' perspective, it sucks a lot. You're stuck with clothes that are too big and not comfortable for you. Could you let her earn money to get one in the size she prefers? Or ask your sister for money since she has an opinion? The whole thing was asking for trouble. Your daughter wants to look cute and feel pretty. Teenagers are always looking for control because they don't have any control over their own bodies. They have adult feelings without adult wisdom, and they're trying to learn a whole new way to interact with the world. I feel for both you and your teenager. You couldn't pay me to be a teen again. I'm confused about how you interpreted that a little too small meant 2 sizes larger was needed. This would have made me feel like trash if my mother had done this. You are the idiot. 1 size is enough. And I promise, this isn't the hill worth dying on. I agree, you are the idiot, OP. I just wanted to add, when I went to private school, since everyone was wearing the same uniform, you were then judged on how you wore it, how things fit, what kind of socks you wore with your skirt, your shoes. These things were all ways you could tell who fits in where in the social hierarchy. Your choices have real impacts on your daughter's social life. You completely blindsided her and are minimizing her distress. You don't need to give in to her and let her get in trouble, but you must communicate with her.